And as opposed to them just saying, oh yeah, the target market for one organization, you know, like a Walmart, they'd have all these different, and then there's a lot of dialogue and stuff that goes on between the students as well. And it gives the instructor an indication of level of involvement of the students. I have students right now who have not signed in to Blackboard, you know, and so because what I do is I send them emails. When I first begin the class, well, actually before class begins, is I see them registering. I send them emails and I'll tell them how to get registered, how to log on. I send them, you know, all this information. And and so, you know, I get feedback. Some of them will say, I can't get in, I don't know what I'm doing. And then we go back and forth, they call me or whatever. But I have students who, they register for the class, so they're in Banner, but they're not, well, actually, they got into Blackboard. They registered for Blackboard, but they have done no discussions, none whatsoever. So at midterm, you know, they got an F. But what happens is I can put, you know, in the midterm, they have never, where in face-to-face classes, we can say they never attended. I use the discussion board sometimes for attendance, too. I can say they haven't been to a discussion board since day one, or they never, you know, because some of the things I do are so easy, they should just get on just to do a getting to know you, to tell me who you are. So, and then of course it can help to improve the class or future classes, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the little snafus that I ran into. So let's see if I can go in. Oh, now this discussion board, you know, because it's asynchronous, it basically allows the student and instructor to communicate without both parties being present at the same time. That's one of the best features probably for faculty and students. I mean, they can be up at 3 o'clock in the morning responding to the discussion board, and when you want to grade it, you could be, you know, on the beach somewhere, you know, if you want to grade, you know, if that's what floats your boat, that's fine. And I think that actually the second bullet, I think it really does encourage creativity of thought, because the students don't really have you staring like you're in a classroom and you're waiting for them to answer you, or even if you're in a virtual classroom where you're online with them, they're waiting for you. I mean, you're waiting for them, or they feel like you're waiting for them to answer. But this gives them the opportunity to really think about what they're going to say, how they're going to say it, how it's going to be perceived by their student, by their fellow students, and things like that. So I think it really, I get some really good responses because the students do a lot of research on the topics that we're talking about. And then it provides a degree of flexibility for both parties. So again, with the time constraints, or, you know, if you want to go back in, like I'll give deadlines. I'll say you need to post all of your responses by, you know, like say today is, you know, October 23rd. I might say by October 30th, you need to have all of your responses posted, which means you have to go in, you respond, and then if I respond back, you have a chance to respond back to me, and, you know, you can get all of those in, and that's how I grade, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so let's see. See if I can go into it this way, but if not, then I'll just. Oh, do you? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Carolyn. So glad you're here.
And while you're getting in, because you're going to have to log in.
Yes. Dr.
Herring used discussion board when he was away for a conference to have his students still do that.
Mm-hmm.
Without having to get somebody else. Okay. It will. You need to. The link that you had was too long for it to actually take you into that.
Oh, okay. It took me in on my computer.
Yeah, in my office. In the office it would.
But it's a secure site, so you're gonna. That's right.
Okay. Well, this is the class I taught last year online, and it's fun. It's funny because I'm one of the. We're lucky as in, I don't know, in some of your areas, if you have these course cartridges, or they call them, I think they're cartridges. If you have those, use them, because you can go in and you can take out what you don't need. But the course cartridge for this book actually has PowerPoint slides. It has e-lectures where there's somebody actually lecturing. It has quizzes, tests. It has a lot of things, audio and cases and things like that you can use, and it really makes it a lot easier to develop your discussions, because you don't have to worry about, okay, I got to do PowerPoint slides, I got to do all these other things for the class. So if you can get a textbook that has a course cartridge that you can download, make sure that you can get that, because that really does help.
Is there an extra charge for that?
Now, okay, let me tell you, it's not an extra charge for the cartridge, but they will charge the students sometimes extra to get into, if you're going to use all of the materials. Like for the PowerPoint slides, they don't charge the students extra. But if you want them, like I can show you, like for example, I had the students pay for their car, and it was kind of expensive. This year I didn't, but last year I did. And for example, like so like if you go into read chapter 2, they have the PowerPoint slides, the e-lecture, and then here's a beat the clock quiz. And you could actually, if they click on the beat the clock quiz, it's actually an online quiz that shows that they can just take online and you get their score automatically. And you can use that to help, you know, with assessment and things like that. I would normally not count this as a grade. I would count this as assessment to see where they are, because, you know, they could collaborate or whatever. But I don't know. So this might not come up because this is last year. But
and it depends upon which publisher you're
right.
working with as to whether or not they'll charge the students.
Right, exactly. So so let's talk about the discussion board. So what I did was when I first started, and I'm gonna show you, this is my last year, and then I'll show you this year because I did some different things. But they changed the discussion board, the way you do the discussion board. Okay, so when you do, everybody knows how to set up the discussion boards and everything, right? So, you know, I had all of these different forums, you know, and I set them up for the students. And I had discussion boards for every chapter, and then I would have discussion boards for reviews. Like if I was given an exam, I would have a discussion board set up for a review. So you could post questions that you didn't understand about any of the chapters. And this year what I'm doing is I'm doing every couple of chapters, I give them the opportunity to ask me questions rather than like every 5 or 6 chapters. I give them, you know, opportunities to ask questions. But one of the things that, like for example, this one, and now these, I'm gonna tell you, these were actually, these were discussion board questions that the textbook had. They were very good, and I was like, okay, I can, some of them I think I added definition of marketing and the concept of utility, but I think this was one of theirs, and it basically, what benefits monetary and non-monetary do social responsibility programs bring to a business? So then the students go in and respond, and you'll have a response. And see, it's a little difficult on so you have the response. And so what I'm doing this year, so they give the response, and then you can reply to the response, and then they have an opportunity. And I want the students also to reply to the responses. And so I have there's actually, and I can show you, there's a rubric that they are using. So this rubric actually, it helps the students, and I changed it a little bit because I actually give numbers, because we do assessment in the School of Business, and so we have a 1, 2, 3 grading scale, so, I mean, you know, assessment. So what I did was I said 4 is excellent, 3 is good, 1 is average. 1 and average and poor are both our 1s, I think, or I said poor is 0 or something like that. But anyway, timely contributions. So are you responding as soon as the discussion is posted, or are you waiting until the end? Well, if you wait till the end, you're not going to be able to reply to anybody else's post. Or some people, what they do is they'll reply to everybody else's post, but they're not posting their own. And I'm thinking, okay, hello. Quality of postings and responses. And again, I give some actual, you know, I want them to really, and these are like juniors, so they're like, this is their first marketing course, so I don't expect them to, you know, understand all the theoretical implications of marketing and everything. But what I want them to think about is, you know, okay, we learned this last week. How does that apply to what we're learning this week? And how can what I'm doing in my business, if I'm this expert for this business, how can I apply that? So when I'm talking about quality of responses, I don't want to hear, I agree with that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to just see, oh yeah, that's interesting. We have one student who is doing Starbucks. That's one of the companies they use. And she did this great